guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another cultured weeb episode, talking about anime part 2. We are going back to my old anime playlist on YouTube and going through the anime and the OPs and having a little bit of chat. If you've not seen part 1, I will link it here. Anything I talk about in part 1, I will not be talking about in this video, so if there's anything I missed that you want to listen to, it's up here. But we're just gonna jump straight into it and get on with some weed business. I believe we got as far as Mystic Messenger last time. I remember talking about that a lot at the end of the last one. The next thing on the list after that though, for this video, is Toradora. I still love Toradora. I first watched this, it must have been like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Yes, it's a high school rom-com. If watching high school rom-com is a crime, shoot me. Yeah, it's about a really tall, scary looking dude called Ryuji and a really short, scary girl called Taiga. They have crushes on different people in the show and they sort of try and team up to help each other get with their crush. I love the art style of this. When I first saw it, that's what sort of drew me in. The first intro for Toradora is also a banger. The song in this playlist is one of the OSTs, Holy Night, which is from one of the couple of Christmas episodes that they have in the show. These episodes are just so wholesome, so sweet. I'm trying to be wholesome here. So yeah, it has a couple of Christmas episodes in it, and when Christmas comes round, I almost always will rewatch Toradora just for the few Christmas episodes it has. I've watched this so many times, I really love it, but it's just so sweet, and I know it's a high school rom-com, and you're probably like, I've watched so many of those before, why this one? And I don't know, I just love it. I have a list of stuff I'm going to rewatch, so it's going on my list again. It's not my favourite high school rom-com, we've not got to that yet, but it might be my second favourite, off the top of my head at least. Angel Beats! If you want to cry, Angel Beats is about a guy who wakes up in a random school, which actually turns out to be a kind of purgatory, I think. And they're fighting against a girl called Angel and is trying to take them away from this purgatory, basically. Obviously it's about like death and stuff. You can tell that it's gonna get lots of feels. There is another song from Angel Beats which I believe is also in this playlist, but there's a bit where it's one of the OSTs, a song, and there's two characters and they have like a heartfelt moment partway through. Not the main characters, two other characters. And it's just so wholesome, it makes me cry every time. Angel Beats, great. It would be going on my list to rewatch if I hadn't rewatched it a couple months ago. So good. Ooh, Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul is a hard one for me. Obviously, the intro is one of the most iconic intros ever for anime, despite the memes. Season 1 of Tokyo Ghoul is really good. I believe it's quite faithful to the manga, but I've not read the manga, so I don't know. But I know that after season 2, Tokyo Ghoul Route A, things start getting a little, you know, she starts diverging a little. At the time I enjoyed it when I first watched it, but I feel like if I rewatched it, I wouldn't. And that's why I've never gone back to rewatch it. If you don't know what Tokyo Ghoul is about, it's about a guy named Kaneki, and through events that happen, he ends up becoming a ghoul, which is a group of people who only eat humans? They're sort of like vampire vibes, but they're not vampires, they're ghouls. And it's just about them trying to survive and fight against a organisation that is out to kill off all the ghouls and stuff. There's more plot to it than that. It gets really crazy at the end of season 1. I remember really enjoying season 1 when I watched it, but I don't know if that's just like, you know, the edginess of Tokyo Ghoul at the time when it came out. The opener for season 2 though is an underrated banger. It's got a really weird time signature to it. It's like 13 beats, 13/4. With Tokyo Ghoul, I really want to give the manga a go because I've heard that the manga, despite the memes, the actual story compared to the anime is actually really good and it's actually worth reading. I want to try and find the box set on eBay or something really cheap, but it's really expensive, so I've not bought it yet, but I really want to give reading it a go at some point. But it's an absolute classic. Like, everyone knows Tokyo Ghoul. And then we have Free. Free, I don't remember much of the plot of Free, I'm gonna be honest.
It's about boys and they swim.
But this ending theme lived rent-free in my brain for such a long time after I watched this show. And it's still a banger, it still slaps. Whatever you think about the show, the ending slaps. And I've not got the intro on here, but I feel like the intro is also really good. It's about high school swimming club. I feel like I'd need to rewatch it because I don't remember any of the plot at all. Then we have Shippuden, which I've already talked about, a cover by Lin Lee, obviously. Queen. Oh, Naruto, right, okay. I know I've talked about Naruto. If you want to hear about Naruto, that is in part 1. This is the outro for the movie, Naruto the Last. Basically, you have Naruto, then you have Shippuden, and then right towards the end of Shippuden, like in the timeline, you have this movie, and then you have the last like 3 or 4 episodes after that. This movie had such a chokehold on me. I have watched this so many times. It's crazy. I was crying, I was screaming, and I was like, oh my god. I ate this movie up. I loved it. I was never full. I watched it so many times. I don't really want to give you the plot because it doesn't make much sense unless you've watched Naruto, and if you've watched Naruto, you've watched this movie, so just go watch Naruto if you want a long series to binge, you know, and then you get to have the sweet emotion of this movie towards the end. Wolf Girl and Black Prince. Okay. This, again, is a high school romance, and it's a product of its time. In that time of all those kind of shows that came out where the girl's kind of plain and whatever, but then the guy is actually like kind of rude and very pushy and does some kind of questionable things throughout the show, but it's just deemed as okay. I don't remember the plot of the show. It's very much just like a high school romance, you get what you're given sort of thing. But, and I enjoyed it at the time, and then sort of going back and looking on it, there's a lot of stuff in there that's very questionable with the guy doing weird, kind of creepier things that in real life would be very questionable and very gross. Probably wouldn't watch it again, but I also don't remember much of the plot, but the questionable stuff in it sort of puts me off, so it's a no from me, I'm afraid. But this intro is banger. This intro is banger. Again, just the intro is good. Then we have, oh, Blue Exorcist. Oh, that is like I've not watched for a long time. This intro song slaps. I sort of want to rewatch it just for the intro song. But I remember it being really good, really easy watching. This is like the potato of TV. And I think I'm gonna put it on my list to rewatch because I actually want to remember what it's about. Oh, Noragami! Okay, I love Noragami. Absolute banger openings. It's about all the Japanese gods, and basically you have Yato, who's a very small god who doesn't really have like his own shrine or anything like that, so he's trying to like get the word out that he's a thing and helping people out with any of their problems and stuff. And then he meets a girl called Hiyori who she shifts between being a human and being able to see Yato and all the other gods, basically. And it's just about them going around and him trying to make a name for himself. I love the show. I love the show. I remember watching it and rewatching it and rewatching it and loving it still every time. Also, you have a little bit of the romance in there, which I just can't get enough of. Hopeless romantic me. It's got 2 seasons, but it didn't adapt all of the manga, so I did start reading the manga, but I can't remember much about it, so I'd like to give it another go, I think, at some point. But yeah, I remember just this show sticking in my brain and really loving it, so I would definitely recommend this one. Nyankoi! I completely forgot Nyankoi was a thing. If you have never heard of this show, you are not the first person, because I don't know anybody else who watched Nyankoi. The whole show is a guy who communicates with cats, and it's a harem situation. Yes, you, cats. It's not terrible. but it's not something I expect anybody to have ever actually watched. Doesn't like break the mold on anything, you know. I don't know what else to say about this, to be honest. If you've watched Nyankoi, leave it in the comments because I don't even know where I found this show. I have no idea. No idea. Why is there Undertale soundtrack in here? Maybe I'll do one of these videos but for games or something sometime. Do like a 3x3 of like lots of different stuff. That's for a different video. Oh, here we go. Right, before I was talking about Angel Beats and I said there was a bit where they have the OST and it makes you cry every time. This is it. This goddamn song. Listening to this song alone makes me want to tear up because it's just, oh my god. If you watched it, you know, watch Angel Beats. And then you'll get to this and you'll cry. And then you can come back to this video and leave a comment and tell me how you cried. Yuri on Ice. Wow. When did Yuri on Ice come out? 2016 Yuri on Ice came out. Okay. I didn't hate it. I know a lot of people that like Yuri on Ice love Yuri on Ice. I felt like there were lots of episodes in between of things happening which I didn't really care about, and I sort of wanted to just hurry up with the rest of the story. The main plot with Yuri and Victor was really groundbreaking at the time. There wasn't very much yaoi stuff going on in mainstream anime, as far as I was aware at least. When Yuri on Ice came out, it was like massive. It was a huge deal, and you can understand why, you know? So I can see why so many people do love Yuri on Ice, and I don't blame you for loving it. There's that one bit where there was that guy and he was getting like really horny while he was skating, and I was like, I am not enjoying whatever you are doing, sir. Yeah, you want some good yaoi, you know, Yuri on Ice is not a bad bet. Oh, Samurai Champloo. Okay, I can't remember the exact plot, but you have this girl who meets up with two samurais to try and find, who was the guy? Something about a sunflower. But it's just them traveling to try and find this guy. She like hires them. So one of the guys is like a ruffian, and then the other one's like a very formal, like actual samurai. The whole thing with the show is that the fighting style is sort of like akin to like breakdancing? Is that what it is? The style of fighting that they do in the show has like breakdancing vibes, and you get that in the intro as well. It's like a hip hop intro. It's really cool. But it's all like feudal Japan. Did I mention that? It's feudal Japan. It's really interesting, really cool, and I'm gonna add it to my rewatch list. Ouran High School Host Club. I loved Ouran High School Host Club. It was one of the first reverse harems that I'd ever watched, and it was a really nice change from the one normal boring guy getting all the girls for like no apparent reason. The English dub voice actor for Tamaki is actually the same guy who does Ed from Fullmetal Alchemist. And I remember watching this and being like, I fucking know that voice. Where's that voice from? And I was on behind the voice actor, as I usually did, and it blew my mind at the time. I don't know, fun fact. Ouran High School Host Club, really briefly, is a super posh high school where a host club is set up for girls to go and be hosted by hot boys. And then you have, is her name Haruhi? And she's a girl, but she is very male presenting, and she basically starts working at the club as a guy, and it's just like all the adventures of the reverse harem of that, even though Haruhi presents as a guy and works at the host club, but is actually a girl. It's like 95% perfect, because the whole premise of the show is that she is a girl, but she does all the things a guy does, and she doesn't really care about whether people think she's a woman or a man. And then you have this scene at the end where she gets into trouble, and then Tamaki is just like, you're a girl, how do you think you could have got out of this problem, sort of thing. And I know so many people have gripes about that online, and I really do see that, and it's really frustrating. But otherwise, this show is just guilty pleasure central. It has all like the classic tropes, and it kind of makes fun of itself for having the classic tropes. The thing about this show I also really liked was that the art style was really interesting, and not like anything else I'd seen at the time or really watched since. I still rewatch it. I still really love it. I rewatched it a couple of times, and I would recommend watching it if you haven't. Bleach I've talked about. Tokyo Ghoul I've talked about. Okay, Devil is a Part-Timer. This is one of those shows where it had one season and then they just cancelled it. I didn't not like the show, I just didn't really think very much of it. I was like, My Hero Academia. Okay. This show has so many up and down bits for me. Like season 1, it's really good. And then there's like so many bits in the middle where I just feel like it drags so much, which is really disappointing because there's so many good bits in the show as well. I've not caught up with season 5, but I know there's season 6 coming out as well. So maybe I'll catch up. I don't know, but who knows? Maybe someday. Oh, Death Parade. Oh my gosh. The opening is absolutely iconic and there's nothing else like it ever. Death Parade is it a bar? It's a bar, basically, where people end up as purgatory. And they play random bar games and stuff against the staff that work there. And it sort of determines whether they go to heaven or hell. I think that's the basic premise. It's so good. I've not explained it very well, but I think I'm gonna put it on my rewatch list as well, to be honest. This is me just rewatching stuff I've already watched instead of watching new things. It's just how I am, baby. Haikyuu, finally, right. An anime about a high school volleyball team does not get to be as good as Haikyuu is. It's not fair. And it's one of the few shows where I would want you to watch the dub rather than the sub, because the dub is so funny. Like, it's already funny, but the English dub does such a good job. Basically, it's about a high school volleyball team that used to be really good back in the day and now is a bit shit. And they're just working their way up and beating other schools and going to nationals. You know, you get so invested. So invested. I love Haikyuu and I love watching YouTube videos about Haikyuu. If you're a big Haikyuu fan, you know you've watched that video where it's like Haikyuu English dub moments that are ingrained into my soul, or iconic Haikyuu dub moments that butter my croissant, you know? You know what I mean. You know what I mean. If you're not a sports anime fan, I get it. I wasn't a sports anime fan. Haikyuu is just so good. I have no notes. It lives rent-free in my brain and I've rewatched it loads just because the dub is so good. And yeah, you get so invested and the characters are great. Highly recommend. Okay, right, here we go. We got Fruits Basket, baby. This particular one is the OG Fruits Basket, which I watched 5 years ago now. I kid you not, the same week that I finished the original Fruits Basket, they announced the 2019 redo of Fruits Basket. Fruits Basket is it's a high school romance, right? But it's so much more than that, man. Fruits Basket is my second favorite anime ever. Fullmetal Alchemist has had the top spot for me for absolutely ages, but then every time I watch fucking Fruits Basket, it like creeps. Like they're like this. They're like so close. There are times where I'm watching Fruits Basket and I'm like, oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite show. And then I watch Fullmetal Alchemist and I'm like, oh no, wait, I remember why this is so good. This is why it's at the top. I can't even like words for Fruits Basket. Basically, you have the main character called Toru, and the show starts off where she doesn't really have a place to live and she starts camping out, but she ends up being on the land of this family called the Somas, and she gets to know them. Basically, when they get hugged by someone of the opposite sex, they turn into animals of the zodiac. And it's technically, is it a reverse harem? No. Some people say it's a reverse harem, but I don't really put it in that category. It has so many like good life lesson things in it, moments which like really touched me personally. So many parts to it where, maybe it's because I was watching it at a time where I was feeling particularly bad about myself. Toru has a character, I just love the way she is and the way she's written. Things will happen and they just make me burst into tears, not because they're sad, just because they just really touch my heart. Yes, it's like a rom-com high school thing, but there is so much more to it than that. They did such a good job with the anime. I believe they really did the manga justice. I've rewatched that show so many goddamn times and I love it every single time. It's so good. And I really want to buy it on DVD, but over here in the UK it's really expensive right now. It's like $39.99 per season and there's 3 seasons. I just can't afford that right now. Otherwise I would have it on DVD in a heartbeat and I'd watch it forever. If you've not seen Fruits Basket, Do not be put off by the fact that it's a high school romance thing. There is so much more to it. It hits hard. I love it so much. It just like has shaped so many parts of my actual life, which sounds really cheesy and it feels really slimy to say it, but it's true. If you've not seen it, please watch Fruits Basket. If there's anything you watch from this video, watch Fruits Basket. And I'm gonna stop talking about it there because otherwise I will not shut the fuck up. So these opening and endings are for the original Fruits Basket, but then it was redone in 2019 for the whole thing because the original series only had 2 seasons? 1 season. But it didn't do the whole of the manga anyway, but the 2019 one does, and it does a really good justice. Oh, this is the remake of Fruits Basket. Wow, all of these, do I not watch a variety of things? Oh god. Am I a normie? Am I basic? I mean, probably, but there's nothing wrong with that, right? Oh, Demon Slayer. Okay.
You like Demon Slayer?
Sounds from the crowd, excuse me. Demon Slayer, it is good. I have no notes for Demon Slayer. It's about a guy called Tanjiro whose sister becomes a demon and his whole family is killed. And he goes off to learn how to fight demons. One thing about Demon Slayer is that it is visually stunning. Like, the animation is amazing. It looks so beautiful. And the story is good. I did enjoy it. I feel like everyone's seen Demon Slayer at this point. I've watched it all, I'm up to date. I watched the film Mugen Train. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It is a good show to watch if you've not seen it. My voice is starting to hurt. Chatting too much bullshit. Konosuba, oh my god. Right, Konosuba is so good. It is an isekai, but it sort of takes the piss out of isekais and that kind of genre of anime. Konosuba is like one of the only isekais that I actually enjoyed and would go back to. Oh, Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm not going to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen so much because everyone knows about Jujutsu Kaisen. The outro is the shit. The intro is the shit. It's so good. The show is great. Like, it's funny, it's cool, it has action shit in it. I enjoy. It's great. I have no more notes. Oh, the final season of Attack on Titan. The final season, which is season 4, part 3, part 1. This honestly was the inspiration for these 2 videos that I've made about anime because the 3 episodes or hour-long thing is coming out tomorrow and I'm so fucking hyped. I spoke about it in part 1, but if you've not seen it, it is one of the best pieces of media ever made. Honestly, if you look on IMDb for TV shows, the top rated TV shows of all time, which are like 9.9, you've got like Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, Chernobyl, all those kind of shows, and quite a few of them are Attack on Titan episodes. It just shows how much of an impact this show has had because it is honestly iconic. Attack on Titan, number 3. Like, it's in here so many times. 10 of the top 30, a third of the highest rated TV show episodes of all time on IMDb are Attack on Titan. It's good shit. That's where I'm going with this. Obviously that like other stuff like is close. I'm not saying that that's a strict like top 30, but that's what comes up on their page, you know. There's so many. I've spoken about Attack on Titan already, I'm not going to go into any more. That was just the inspiration for these videos. We've got Given. Oh my god, I loved Given. Given is about boys in a band and they want to sing and play instruments good and they're all gay. But it's done really well and the songs in it are really good. I just had a really good time watching it. It was really wholesome. And the opening and the song they do in the show, oh, it's so good. Oh, if you want yaoi and you've not watched Given, shocking, watch Given if you've not seen it. And then the final one on this list, we've got motherfucking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I am still watching JoJo. I am on Stardust Crusaders. I have never watched anything as crazy as this show. It is just nuts from beginning to end, absolutely mad. It's an amazing time. You can't take it too seriously. Like, I can't even explain the plot to you. It's just nuts. Really good. I know it has so many memes, but I'm actually really enjoying it still. And that is what I'm watching at the moment. But yeah, that is the bottom of the list. That was a trip down memory lane, and I now have a whole list of other shows that I want to rewatch. Obviously, like I said, this isn't an extensive list of every anime I've watched. This is just a list I had to look at because I could not think of all of the ones I've watched because I've watched so many. Let me know what your favourite anime is down in the comments below and if it was on this list. Oh, that was really fun. If you got to the end of this video, thank you. Like I said in part 1, I don't really have a lot of people to talk to about anime or people that have watched as much as me, I guess, or have watched the things that I've watched. So I just wanted an outlet, really. This video is for me. It's not for you, it's for me. I hope you guys like this video. Like I said, if you want to see part 1, I will link that down in the description as well. If you want to see more, remember to subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. I'm gonna go chill out now because my throat's actually starting to hurt because I've been talking about this for too long. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! I'm tired.